promised, all the way from America, our special guest, Jessica Lynn, is in the house. How you doing, Jessica?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you've been on the show before a while ago now, but we're super excited because there is a UK tour.
I am so excited. I've waited a very long time to schedule these dates. 2020 at this point. So I can't wait.
Oh, I know. And you're all over the country, not just in one spot. You're going from Cambridge, Birmingham, Leeds, Manchester, Blackpool, Southampton, London. Wow.
It's it's a great schedule. Unfortunately, we actually had to chop it down. We had originally 13 dates. We're down to seven. When the tour got rescheduled, we're also doing a very big European tour
Yeah.
of seven different countries. So festival dates shifted over time and there were so many conflicts. So we literally only had this 1 week to make it over, which I was kind of bummed about. And so I apologize to everybody that's listening that we had to cancel your city.
Oh no, but you're playing some extremely great places. I mean, the Gullivers in Manchester is a great venue. I mean, it's compact and it's close, but you get the atmosphere instantaneously.
Can't
Um,
wait.
and it's there is a one across the way called Night and Day as well. They've got a similar vibe about it. All the street has got a great vibe of music. So you go, it's like Manchester's own Tin Pan Alley kind of thing, you know. It's going
Yeah.
on.
Oh, I really can't wait. We've waited so long to do this trip. We've been touring the States in the meantime. This past summer was our first tour back, and
Oh
it just
wow.
felt so good to get out and do what we do again. It really, my life felt very empty without it.
And also, and you're picking probably the Britain's fingers crossed, good summer month, which is July. Because last year it was red hot in July.
Really, I'm sorry to tell you, but I think very hot weather just travels with the band. Somehow, no matter where we go, they have record heat in Europe and the UK. So
But if you're picking July, I mean, the odds are going to be stacked against it, really, but a stack for it, I should say. But also looking
the
at this,
last
9th of July, you're in Blackpool. Have you ever been to Blackpool before?
no, I'm very excited.
It's like a watered down version of Atlantic City.
Really?
Yes.
See, that's what stinks though too, is that we go to all these cool places and we pull in, play the show, and then we have to leave.
Exactly. And they have like the fairground rides, they have Big Dippers, they've got the one they call the big one, which
Really?
oh it's yeah, it is. I mean, I won't go on it. I'm scared.
Oh,
Um, but you're right near the beach and the sea, and there's Blackpool Tower and all that thing going on.
oh, maybe if we have any time in between sound check and the show, we can get out really quickly.
You go on stage with all your hair stuck up as well because of
I
the
know that also happens quite frequently. And
It's, it's a shame actually because it's actually on the Sunday, I think it is, isn't it? It's on the Sunday, I think the 9th at the Waterloo
yes,
in Blackpool. There is another venue that we go very, very regularly, and it's BC British Country Music Association sort of embossed and authorized. It's a place called and don't laugh, it's not like it sounds, a place called Dirty Blondes,
oh,
and it's behind the Blackpool Tower. And it's quite a small bar, but every month they have country music, and it is just bouncing, absolutely bouncing. There's no dance
oh,
floor. It's just acoustic. It's raw. We're all going on. I think the next one's April the 8th, which is me and my two friends' birthdays coincide.
happy
A
birthday.
brilliant place to go. Unfortunately, yeah, because like you say, once you be packed up, you be gone. But yeah, Dirty Blondes, look it up.
I will.
And people think, no, it sounds one of those den of iniquity. No, it's not. It's actually great.
Yeah, especially because you said it's like behind the tower. Like it makes
It's
it
yeah,
sound.
it's down the dark entry as well, and I'm not selling it right, but it's down the dark entry. But like I said, it's been in a wild production. So you've been touring the US. So how's the show's been going?
Great. When we first got back to it, you could tell there was definitely some hesitancy. We were hearing from venues that things just, they were having a hard time getting on their feet. You could tell we did some outdoor things and people were just standing quite far apart.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, we had a pretty busy year this past year, and things seem to be back to normal, which is just wonderful to see.
Oh, and if when you're coming over to the UK, what can we expect on stage from you? What's Jessica Lynn's got up her sleeve? Can you tell us?
Yeah, so we have a lot of new music, which I'm really excited about. A lot of new singles coming. We're going to be releasing the first one in May, right before the tour,
Yeah.
and a music video that we're working really hard on right now. And if you haven't seen the show before, it's very, very high energy, constant moving, audience participation. It's a good time, and my band is my family, so it's kind of gives a unique element to the show, how close everybody is. We've been together a long time, 10 years.
Wow.
And so it's just expects a lot of energy, a lot of fun, and to feel like family, really, when you're there.
Well, it is, and I think one of the key questions I've always asked, and one of the pretty similar answers I get, is it's important to have support. And it can be in different guises. It could be family, it can be professional, but also band is part of that. If you don't get on with the band, the atmosphere on stage is terrible. I've been in bands and duos myself and stuff, and there comes a point where there's a fraction, and
Yeah,
it becomes a chore then going on stage, and then that then portrays to the audience, etc.,
yeah,
etc. So it is so important, isn't it, to get the right people around you.
it is. Like I said, my band's been with me since 2012, the same people.
Wow.
And we've tried to add pieces here or there, a fiddler, whatever. And you're right. I mean, if the personality is not right, or they're not a team player, um, or they're just not a kind and loving person to fans, to crew, I mean, it's just not a good fit. It's so important. Every person that's in your band, as you know, is a reflection on you and your brand and everything that you work really hard for, the way they talk to the people that come out to see you play. It's all so important, everybody that you surround yourself with. And I truly don't believe that you could be successful if you're surrounded by the wrong people.
And again, you might not be there. And I know it's happened to me recently, actually, and I won't mention the artist involved because it wasn't that artist's fault. But basically, I went to Manchester, funny enough, and not the same venue, waiting outside, meeting some friends, and then the band members come out and they were really, really arrogant, very, very offish, that kind of thing. And it wouldn't take too much for somebody to go, right, I'm not going watching that person again. And very well known person, by the way. But you're thinking, well, okay, they might have had an off day, that type, but it just they're representing inverted commas the brand,
Yeah,
you know?
it's so true. Even as a musician, I mean, I've opened for people or played with people on festival bills that you meet them or your band, you're like, not a fan anymore, and then you meet other people that are so wonderful and it makes you want to listen to their
Yeah.
music and do more with them. And it's all a learning experience. It really is. And I don't know if I'm I could be very blunt and a little harsh. I guess it's my New York Italian personality, but I don't care how bad of a day you're having.
Yeah.
It is no excuse to treat people with no respect.
I know, I love New York. I absolutely love it. It's been a few years now. It's one of those places that when you land for the very first time, it's like your home. And I think it's obviously because it's portrayed by so many TVs and films and things like that. And I have family over at Brooklyn, but obviously long gone. We've all sort of got fragmented along the way. But I loved Little Italy.
My family's in Brooklyn too.
Yeah, I didn't like Little China. I didn't like Chinatown, but I loved Little Italy, and I know they're very close together. The little espressos and all that kind of stuff. And one of the
Yeah.
things I saw on my way, my wife and I was walking towards it, Little Italy, and I thought to myself, why has nobody else thought of that? And it's a little like a flattened. It's probably changed now, but it was a flattened ground, like a apartment block being flattened, and they put this car park in, but it's multi-leveled. But it's like what you see the cars being like travel, like you put on a back of a lorry, and they
Yeah.
have like ramps to drive up. And that was around the corner from Little Italy. I thought, what? And it was like 3 or 4 stacks high, and then it collapses to let the other car down. And then I thought, that is genius.
Yeah, it is.
Only in New York can that happen, you know?
It's true. Very true.
um, but yeah, I mean, so you've got new, like I said, you've already intimated, but you've got new music coming around the corner as well. Is it what, can you tell us a little bit about the new music? What does it mean? Is there a theme along the way?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that. As a New Yorker, my label is country music, but if you've ever been to a show or you've listened to my repertoire of stuff so far, it's very obvious that there's a lot of other genres that
Yeah.
heavily influence my sound. I grew up as a rock and roller, a straight up rock and roller. I mean, from the time I was 13, I was playing like very no doubt style music.
Oh yeah.
Um, all throughout. I mean, I was heavily influenced by pop punk music, like Simple Plan. You in the UK will probably know McFly was one of
Yeah.
my favorite
Oh
bands
wow. Yeah.
growing up. So I was playing that style of music from the time I was 13 to 18 years, really playing all these clubs I wasn't even allowed into with my little heart-shaped rock and roll guitar. So my music is extremely rock and roll, and I'm also very influenced by soul. I grew up on Meditation and Al Green, and so my new music is definitely more authentically me. It has much heavier rock influences,
Yeah.
soul influences. I love music with horns. I love Latin music. So it's all kind of wrapped into one. I don't want to say I threw genre out the window for these next few songs, but they certainly are a real mix. The next song, the first single, you're the first to hear, is called Mixed Signals. And it's a pun on mixed drink terms as well as mixed signals from a significant other, someone you're
Mm.
interested in. And the song is very 60s rock and roll. It has horns, it has
Oh.
country guitar. It's a real with very like Motown style harmonies on it. It's very high energy. Um, it's really the new songs are interesting. I'm gonna say that.
But yeah, I mean, obviously you were very into like Americana kind of things as well, which obviously dovetails into what you just told me, doesn't it? Americana, it does branch out from country. It sort of breaks the chain.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to go through my Spotify right now, no exaggeration, it would be AC/DC to Richard Marx to Ash to Luke Bryan to heavy metal to, I mean, ever to Selena. I'm a
Yeah.
huge Selena fan. So I just love everything. And
Mm.
I believe that good music is good music. Why do you have to put such a hard label on something? If it's a good song and it fits you as an artist, release it. Who cares?
I think you're absolutely right and true to yourself as well, because, and I've said this many a time on the show, if you have a look at the charts now in Nashville, it's very much a close knit group. And certainly in the top 20, you're looking at multiple entries by the same artist. And I think that's been done since time immemorial. If you go back into the 90s, you'll see Alan Jackson's got 4 songs in there. And there's a little bit of a political game going on, which obviously but what really amazes me is the fact that people go, right, I'm doing it my way, like the factory conveyor belt that seems to be. And if you listen to some of the music, and we've been very fortunate with C2C a couple of weeks ago, some of the artists I've never heard before went, wow. And it's the sort of genre that in country music that I think, oh, I wouldn't normally like that, a bit more of a Nashville pop kind of vibe to it, and I thought, oh, the lyrics are good on this. And I've changed my philosophy a little bit, but why not? Why not listen? If it's good and you listen to it, why not? Because I've always called country now multi-genre within it.
It is. And I love
Yeah,
that you use
sorry.
the term conveyor belt because that's how it really feels. I mean, music for a long time has been extremely cookie cutter.
Yeah.
I've had so many doors slammed in my face. Like, you don't look and sound like what, is hot on country radio right now. So unless you want to change, I'm not going to sign you or I'm not going to work with you. And I was always, maybe it was a stupid decision, if you want to call it that. But in the long run, I think all of my biggest successes have been from being different.
Yeah.
I've been touring Europe and things like that now for almost 6 years. And, I don't think any of those doors would have opened if my music wasn't so rock and roll influenced. I do a lot of blues festivals, Americana festivals, rock and roll festivals, biker festivals, my music, as well as the very country festivals. So I've had so much opportunity because the music fits into so many different places. And I wouldn't be where I am if I had said, yeah, I'm just going to do this thing that's totally not authentic, that I'm not happy with. People, when they hear music, they know if it's genuinely from your soul or not. I really believe that.
It's quite interesting. Again, if you listen to, say, the top 50, let's expand it, and how many times the word whiskey gets involved in songs right now. If you have a look at it, there are so many whiskey. No, it might not be in the title, but certainly in the song. And I said we should have a bingo lingo kind of thing going on. Like how many times has whiskey been mentioned? And it does need something. It needs a little bit of freshening up now and again with different vibes. And I always remember listening and I actually seen him actually at Gulliver's. Funny enough, where you're going. Aaron Goodwin, Aaron Watson from Texas, and he had a
Oh,
#1 album. And I love his music. And he just said, the big wigs kept knocking, shutting the doors to me because I didn't sound right. So I thought, hell, I'm just going to set my own label up. And he just stuck two fingers up at the great, the Nashville hierarchy and said, I've made it as this. And he got to applaud people like yourself and all that. He's just going, right, we're doing it our way.
yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Oh,
And
is he? Oh,
yeah,
wow. Well, tell him, say
and
hi. Come back to the UK, please,
I
Aaron.
will. I'll tell him. He texted me yesterday. Um, it's true. He's a big inspiration because
Yeah.
you see that if you stick to your guns and you do what is authentically you, and sometimes people are not gonna listen to you because of it, but that's okay. The right people are. We've had people in the industry say, well, you don't fit into this box. I'm like, okay, but the song just went #1. So people are speaking, like if you choose to listen or not, you're gonna eventually have to listen if
I'm going to change
if
my
it
hat. Hang
speaks
on.
for itself.
In honor of Aaron Watson, I put the Aaron Watson Vaquero.
Oh, awesome.
There you go. He actually gave me this one outside. We're hanging with him outside. So it was quite cool.
Really? I'll have to tell him.
In its short, small world. It's a very, very small world. But no, you're quite right. And I think with mainstream radio, and you know how it works, even here in the UK now, we've got mainstream channels with country music 24/7. And it's great. But the second hour of that program, you'll hear the same song because obviously there is a contract in there to
It's
play.
it's sad.
It is, but I mean, with the way it's opened up now on streaming, on like community radio, like one of the radio channels that I'm with, Cat Country. I'm the only country program on there, country, the Cat 107.9 FM. But it goes all over the world because of obviously streaming and apps these days. But we are not aligned with anybody. We can play whatever we want. And the UK, the UK audiences, like an album cut, not necessarily the #1 single. I always remember, was it Toby Keith last time he came over and he was playing Cabo San Lucas. And he just said afterwards, he said, I wouldn't play this in America because I'm told what I'm going to be playing.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's why I think that we were able to grow my brand so much overseas.
Yeah.
Because what I love about Europe and the UK is that you can authentically grow without money speaking for you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this business has really a lot of times come down to who has the most to spend, not who has the most talent, who has the most fans, who deserves it the most.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. I mean, the amount of opportunities, honestly, I'll just be frank, I've had to turn down because I didn't have the money to do them, is really discouraging for our independent artists out there. You know, there's so much good music out there, so much UK talent. The UK talent in the country music scene blows me away.
Right now, it's at the peak it's ever been. Like I said, with
I
C2
agree.
and the festivals and become very good friends of mine. And it's great to see them grow. And like Kezia Gill now, she actually went in the stadium and appeared on the satellite stage in Glasgow for that was the first time I think, as far as I'm aware, that a UK artist, solo artist, has actually been able to do that. And that's grown from playing the clubs and pubs that I play on to festivals and it just fills my heart with so much happiness to see that an artist, certainly in the UK, can actually do this.
You
Oops.
back?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, good.
No, I said it just gives me so much joy to actually see the progression. And I think lockdown as well, as sad as it was, enabled people to get the writing heads on and the production heads on, and a lot of them have developed their own studios and took time doing it. So they've thrown everything by the kitchen sink at the new stuff, and it's just working.
It's really nice to see. Like even in Europe, I mean, I never had to spend money in marketing, or promoters would just see us at other festivals and then we'd be invited to play theirs. I mean, it's very different here in the States, unfortunately. So that's like just the appreciation for live music and artistry overseas is really something special.
It is. And then after the tour over here, what's around the corner? I know, like you say, you got new music coming up, but is there anything else that we can expect from you?
Yeah, so we have new music releasing all the way up into October. I'm really excited starting in May. So we have a ton of stuff, ton of content. I just started releasing tour vlogs from our USA tour, which is something that I love to do. When I'm collecting all the footage, I don't love to do it. But when I get to post it, the response was so great yesterday when I released the first episode. So those are going to continue all out into the year. And then when we come overseas, I'll be releasing more tour vlogs, which is like really the nitty gritty, like what it's like every day being with us, being tired, the ups and downs, the roller coaster. It's not the glitz and glamour, which I think is really cool and I think really important for people to see.
Yeah.
So we have lots of content coming out in addition to the new music. And then we tour the States one day after we get home from 2 months in Europe. Um, and then we do a huge Christmas tour. So
Wow.
I've established a very well-known Christmas spectacular show here in New York. Over the last 7 years, it sells out the Paramount Theater every year, 1,200 seats,
Wow.
and it's Toys for Tots' biggest fundraiser of the year. We usually collect several hundred toys for kids in need that night. And we did a mini test tour last year where we just did one additional weekend and it went amazing. So this year we have a full, all the way starting Thanksgiving weekend up until Christmas, of Christmas touring. So it's going to be a very, very busy year, and international dates and US dates already coming in for next year. So
Well, that's
there's
awesome.
no slowing down.
And I mean, just talked a little bit briefly off air, and you was telling me obviously there was a little bit of a delay, and very nice of you. I apologize, but I understand all these things. But you've got a very special dog. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. So Audrey is my rescue dog. She's a disabled dog. When we first found out that the pandemic was starting, and we no one knew what it was going to turn into,
No.
but we had just lost about 3 weeks of tour dates. So it was March 17th, and I saw this pop come up on my Instagram feed, like desperate rescue, please someone step up. We really need a foster home for this dog. And I was like, we're home until May, for the tour. Let's help this dog. And very sad story. She had both of her back legs cut off by somebody, and she was left to die in an abandoned house. They also injured her spine, so she's in a diaper. And she was so hurt that she couldn't go to a shelter. So I begged my husband. He's like, "You're never going to get rid of this dog." I'm like, "I am. We're leaving for 5 months straight. How am I going to keep this dog?" And I'm a huge animal lover. I mean, I'm a vegan. I've been vegetarian for 13 years. I do a lot of stuff with animal charities, animal rights things. So I really thought that I'd be forced to give the dog away because you can't take a dog for a few weeks and then leave for 5 months. It's just not going to happen. So I said, just let me do my good deed. So, of course, you know how the year went, where it just kept getting canceled and canceled and canceled. And then there was no way I was giving this dog back. So, we've been through so much with her. She just had her ninth surgery, which is why I was a little delayed coming on the interview. She's requiring a lot of care right now. We actually grafted fish skin onto her leg because she had a non healing wound since we had her, no matter how many surgeries we did to try to fix it, because her skin was just so damaged, and it looks like it's working amazingly, which we're so happy. But she also comes on tour with us. She won't be coming to Europe and the UK, which I'm really upset about. But that travel would just be too much.
Yeah.
But she comes everywhere in the States. She did our full national tour this year, rode in the front of the bus, living the life, getting the catered meals everywhere. She really is just such an amazing dog. And it's funny in the tour vlogs, it's like all her just traveling. She's at Sturgis motorcycle rally, this dog with her little diaper in the middle of everybody. Like
Oh.
she's just, the story is amazing. So if you just love animals, you'll like the vlog.
There's your merch right there, little cuddly toy, very similar, and all the proceeds goes to the charity. There you go.
Yeah, we actually did. We did during the pandemic, we did a live stream concert. We worked with an incredible charity here called Joey's Paw, and they put dogs in prosthetic legs and wheelchairs. And we did one concert for them, and we actually put 59 dogs in wheelchairs for that one show.
Fantastic. Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
Same.
I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. It's just
Same.
just crazy. And you were on about like New York, and one of my memories of New York, because every time I go anywhere in the world, I'll always find somewhere to play country music. And I know, like say, New York's not synonymous with country music, but I found one opposite Radio City, Johnny Utah's.
Yep.
Yeah, I found one. And you go downstairs to it, there's a booking Bronco going on and everything. And they heard me and my wife talk, and they went, "You're English." I went, "Yeah, no." It's like, but what I said, "Oh, I love country music, and chatting away with them, and it made us feel so welcome. And that was one of my takeaway things. But this year I'm going to Florida in about a month's time, doing the Orlando thing with the family, and it's a long story, but generally
Great.
we're all going over. My daughters have long grown up since they went. It's been 20 odd years since we've been there. And I found out that Brooks and Dunn are there on the week after. I was like, no, no.
Oh no,
It's
that's the
usually
worst. I feel
it's
like
the
that
worst.
always happens
And
though.
Stevie Nicks is there
Uh,
the week after as well. I'm like, what's going on? I'm a huge Stevie Nicks fan,
it always happens like that.
But we're going to see
Really, it
the Gypsy
does.
Kings. We're going to see the Gypsy Kings, so that's one thing. And I can high
All
five.
right, good. Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. But Jessica, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you again, and I can't wait to see you over here. And hopefully, we can get something where you can come to the BCMA Fan Fest as well. We're keeping our fingers and legs crossed as well. But
Same.
safe travels, and look forward to your new music as well.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice catching up. And yes, fingers crossed. I hope I see you guys.